So it seems I'm being urged to make this video. I'm not really sure why. I'm not a huge fan of making sure that I know how awful I felt when things were going down. However, I suppose there's some relevancy to it later whenever I come back and go, yeah, I remember. And yet I don't really remember it in my body the same way, and perhaps that's the beauty of it, is that when I have looked back at some of these videos and known intellectually that, dear God, I wanted to die. There was so much nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, purging, pain, kooky, crazy thoughts and shit that I really was in enormous amounts of physical and emotional pain both, and just really in a bad way, that it's not as bad today or the last couple of days than it has been in the past. However, it's at the level of, oh my God, for me today, based on the fact that I don't live at that, level of survival exactly anymore. I've gotten used to having pretty much many days in a row of not feeling bubbly guts and intense pain. And today isn't one of those days. The solar eclipse, the lunar eclipse, the blood full moon was last night, and we're into the eclipse season heavy. I knew for a couple of days prior that, yeah, something weird's happening, and I think we're probably still in Venus retrograde, and I'm pretty sure we're either into or approaching Mercury retrograde. We're into a lot of funky shit, and there's just funky shit for me as a person. Of course, how that plays out from the funky shit that's coming from, up above, but it changes my perspective immensely whenever I'm feeling out of sorts and, kooky and feel like giving up, and I'm not even sure what giving up would look like. What does that mean? Does that mean just fuck it? I haven't been able to say fuck it and make that work yet, because I keep waking up and it passes eventually. However, part of me just wants to say, never mind, I don't want to do this, I changed my mind. And yet, the truth is that I can't just forget stuff, I can't unknow stuff, I can't unsee it, smell it, taste it, all of that. So it's somewhat of a feeling of being trapped, kind of, but in the most dramatic sounding sense, trapped. I'm not, I just know that I'm here by choice, and I do acknowledge that it's just hard sometimes to know that there's still enough cognitive dissonance that allows for me to be experiencing my life with pain, nausea, vomiting, and confusion still. I had rather hoped that, by this point in the game that it wouldn't be quite so physically obvious and mentally obvious that I would be experiencing it this way, and yet I am. So obviously there's a reason, and staying out of the punishment part where, what am I doing wrong? It can be challenging. The old paradigm, which is what's trying to pull me into its dark, dumb shit with that kind of dialogue. The old paradigm would look at me and tell me that I'm doing something wrong, and so the programming of that, I don't have to go outside my own head to find I wonder what I did wrong, I'm bad, I'm terrible, oh, I have so much to be ashamed of, and I don't, I don't. I really don't, not because I'm so goody two-shoes, just that I know and deeply understand that the pure loving force is a pure loving force, and isn't the one that is looking at me and going, just hopeless. That's dialogue in me that hasn't resolved yet, or hasn't resolved enough to let somebody else off the hook, whoever, whatever, wherever. It's going to land back in my plate, always, if I'm being affected by it. And I've really had to struggle today immensely with feeling like, what am I doing wrong? What's wrong with me? Etc. And that's only about that little whisper fart away from being bad dog. And that's a slippery slope that I don't like to be on. And yet, looking my own self in the face and acknowledging that if that's the way I feel, that's the way I feel, and there's nobody outside of me. Not that has a higher frequency than me. There's no higher dimensional being that's above me that's looking at me and throwing shade. That's my level or lower, or human consciousness, whatever. That's a lower consciousness that would see anything except the perfection of me, or the perfection of another person, and getting into all the evaluation and the deciding good and bad and all that. It just is. And that's such a anti-logical, regular human thing to think that way. And that's the whole point, is we're creating a new paradigm here. We're under a new paradigm. I didn't design it. However, if I want to align with it, I do need to change my mind. And man, that pisses my mind off. Sometimes it makes it go nuh-uh, and dig in deep with why all of that is bullshit, and we need to tune out, turn off, and just go do something else. I don't want to do this anymore. I think I'll just be unplugged or plugged, whichever way we're going. I think I just won't do this whole ascension thing. It doesn't apply to me. I was mistaken. All those people are mistaken too. However, I don't have to worry about myself. I'm just going to go over here and be a normal human. And there's no such fucking thing. What? Who told me that this was the way to go? And my dog's all kinds of nervous. He's watched me clutching my guts and, making weird noises all day. And, oh my goodness, it's been an artistry in the sounds that are emitting from my body, burping and all kinds of stuff. So, and yeah, finding humor in it. But it has been a moment of just wrestling with my own mind of, who am I following? What am I doing? Who said this was anything besides me? And then, going down that rabbit hole, well, who am I? Who am I indeed? Who am I indeed at an eclipse moment? To be struggling with anything any more, any less, doesn't matter. Who am I? I'm me. And the struggle that I'm having is ... Insert that right there, Kate. And who gives a rat's ass what's happening to anybody else? That's irrelevant. It's not your story. It's not your problem. You got enough going on right here. And if it's happening for you, why would it matter whether it's ever happened before, whether it might happen again in the future, or how relative it is to anybody else's journey? The theory of relativity does not count in this instance. There's no comparison shopping. It just is. It is, it is, it is. And can I say that, I love rolling around and, clutching my guts constantly all day long and making weird noises and, being a delightful human being to be around, No. However, can I, possibly find room to say, well, it's the process of being a human being when you're birthing out a whole new paradigm, a whole new understanding, and a whole new way of living and being. It's going to come, at a price. Ain't no woman that's had a baby done that with, without being somewhat humiliated, probably embarrassed, in pain, and making weird noises from everywhere. So, and thinking, oh, I just don't want to do this anymore. I changed my mind. No, I changed my mind. I don't want to do this anymore. That's how it is, that anybody that's going through this process and is really experiencing it on that level, me particularly, because I'm the only one I can speak to, it feels like birthing a baby, then that doesn't come without some work. It doesn't come easily necessarily. However, thinking about the treasure of what is being brought into the world is brand new life when it's an infant, brand new life, brand new source energy, all bagged up in wow of my creation, my co-creator, and me, whomever it is. And so when it's a spiritual thing, my co-creator is inside of me. It's both sides of me. It's the polarity of me. It's all the fractals of me. It's all the soul fragments of me that we've co-created and made a new baby of me. That shit doesn't come easily. We had fertility clinics involved for a long time to make sure that we're designing this baby very well and with good intention and good nutrients, etc. We're building, a brand new paradigm. Then, it means that we've got to sometimes, clean out the old paradigm a lot, at least in my case, and we're not going to be able to build new structure. You can't start, the process of being impregnated with a brand new baby while you still have an old one in there. That's, at 4 months we decided we don't want that one anymore. We'll just leave that one there and we'll start over. And that other one, it'll be okay. We'll just abandon it in utero. It doesn't happen. And so without the cleansing process of the old going away and, that doesn't have its purpose anymore the same way. Its purpose was useful. It's like, when you eat a banana, most people don't eat the peel. So, I don't have to hate the peel. I can say, thank you, peel, for, holding that banana. It was juicy, it was delicious, and, I'm not about eating the banana peel, so how about if I go and, repurpose that and give that back to earth or whatever I do. However, I'm not going to need to feel too butthurt with the peel for being the peel, even though it's bitter and I don't want to eat it. I don't have to. I'm not left with that as my only choice, and that's kind of how I feel sometimes, is that I'm backed up into a corner with, I feel like I've just got rinds and peels and, yucky over here that's left over, and yet we're not starting a brand new in utero project without having to clear out, the debris of what was in there before that really wasn't working. It wasn't serving the K. There's no way that we could. And so as we continue to bring all those things down, we're designing and redesigning constantly and showing you, helping you redesign and keep in check with the fact that this is a whole human life you have going here. It's mine. 1144, it's mine, of course. However, the spirit, the divine, is rebirthing itself with every single one of these new alignments, with every solar eclipse, with every full moon, with every moment that I'm making myself aware of some part of me that's new to me, when I'm turning on the light inside of me, when I'm looking in the darkness and being okay with, it's dark as shit in here, and do I want to be afraid of that? Do I want to cower to that? Do I want to say, wow, sometimes the dark is quite necessary. I don't have to be afraid, because there's nothing that's in the dark that isn't there in the light. I heard that on MASH years ago, and I never quite made sense out of that. One of the darkiest characters on there said there's nothing in the dark that isn't there in the light. And I thought, the last few days, that what could be in the dark that would frighten me? What part of my shadow work? What part of shadow me? What part of the shadow of the human collective and that energy would I be afraid of if I truly believe what I believe, which is that the light is light. Ain't nothing going to stop the light, except fear. And fear lives in the dark. However, when we bring our courage into the dark, that's where we manifest from the most powerfully, is we're demonstrating that courage and that ability to spark a light in the middle of that dark and say, I think I'll start building right here. Uterus is a pretty dark spot, I imagine. I don't know. I've never been inside one with any awareness of what was going on. However, I can only imagine that when that new life is being hatched within the mother's womb, it's dark as shit in there. Why wouldn't it be? But the baby, that marriage of sperm and egg come together, and it already knows what to do. So as we're designing in these cosmic alignments, our soul already knows what to do. It places us in utero and says, hey, sit down with you. Don't get too busy thinking about stuff. Don't get too busy trying to manage and control and do all this stuff to make your, fear stop. Just be okay with the slosh of the amniotic fluid, the rhythm of this is all for good. That when we just go with that, when I just go with that and say, okay, I'm in the dark, I don't really know my way here. You're not supposed to. You don't have to know how to develop into a fetus. You don't have to have any of that knowledge whatsoever, because the divine spark that created us, it already knows that. And that part of us that's designed exactly by us, for us, with us, and with the universe in that co-creation, that part knows how it's to do us specifically, not just how to do human being. That's our generic programming and our generic DNA. We already got that one locked in. It's that special spark of us, of that divine cosmic juice that is us, that knows exactly without us having to futz around or mess around or fuck around a whole lot. Not at all, preferably. We don't have to do a whole lot because our soul already knows what we're trying to do, what we need to do, and how we can do it. But damn, if I could tell you anything at all that's the truth of that today, is that that's been a little hard to hear, a little hard to believe, and damn sure hard to follow, because I want to put my fingers in it. Whereas as human being, we're geared for, me anyway, I want to have my hands and fingers, toes, nose, elbows, and everything else and stuff, because it seems like I should. And the minute I start hearing myself say 15, 15, that I should, then I need to should myself away, go sit down and do something that's the exact opposite of controlling, other than manage the moment, control that moment, manage it by going and taking your eyeballs off of stuff and get very uninvested in anything in particular. Let your mind wander, but not on the to-do list, not on the should list, not on any of that stuff. And man, oh man, oh man, imagine trying to build a new paradigm and a new life, sparking it out of the cosmic uterus. We're birthing a brand new baby, and imagine that Kate doesn't want to play along. She's standing in the dark going, what the hell, this is uncomfortable, I don't like this. It's that phase of the birth process that Kate's in, briefly, at least momentarily, if not, several weeks worth, and definitely intensely over the last 24 to 48 hours have been intense. However, meeting myself in this place and knowing that it's okay, it is really okay, giving myself the grace to know that it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. As much as I'd love to say, well, I hope other people, are going through something similar, so it's not just me. And if it was just you, is it okay if it is just you? Well, I don't know about that. Why? Oh, the conversations go on all day. They go on all day. So anyway, time for me to go away because I feel much better now. Just take my focus off of where it was, which was in some, liminal space, and in that darkness being mad and angry. And angry, that's just a cover up, take that off. What are you afraid of? Because nobody likes to feel afraid. And I was just feeling afraid and feeling that anticipatory, I think something really great is happening, like when I was giving birth, years and years ago, like we're on the brink of giving birth here. Yeah, cool. However, we have a few more minutes before that happens. So there's the liminal space of I can feel great change. There's great change that's happening. It's just hard for the human mind to understand sometimes that it doesn't always look like it's happening. 171788 doesn't always look like it's happening out here. And man, that pisses my brain off, pisses my mind off. It makes it go crazy. However, guess what? Whoosh, that's where we light the light. We spark the light up and say, there's the awareness that ain't nothing you need to know, girl. Your spirit already knows. She's good to go. Stop harassing her and don't interrupt her from her work. So time to go and find something else to do now.